Jai Baba.
Jai Baba
Jai
Sunil ji.
Jai
Aar
Baba
Meher
Sunil.
Baba ki jai.
Jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai.
Jai.
So, so Delhi today, huh? So we'll start with Delhi reading the seven realities. So Namita ji, please, if you can you?
Yeah, I can. I will. Yeah, I can. I'll start.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba. The seven realities: existence, love, sacrifice, renunciation, knowledge, control, surrender. I give no importance to creed, dogma, caste, or the performance of religious ceremonies and rites, but to the understanding of the following. The only real existence is that of the one and the only God, who is the self in every finite self. The only real love is the love for this infinity God, which arouses an intense longing to see, know, and become one with its truth, God. The only real sacrifice is that in which, in pursuance of this love, all things, body, mind, position, welfare, and even life itself, are sacrificed. The only real renunciation is that which abandons, even in the midst of worldly duties, all selfish thoughts and desires. The only real knowledge is the knowledge that God is the inner dweller in good people and so called bad, in and in so-called sinner. This knowledge requires you to help all equally as circumstances demand, without exception or without expectation of reward. When compelled to take part in a dispute, to act without the slightest trace of enmity or hatred, to try to make others happy with brotherly or sisterly feeling for each one, and to harm no one in thought, word, or deed, not even those who harm you. The only real control is the discipline of the senses to abstain from indulgence in low desires, which alone ensures absolute purity of character. The only real surrender is that in which poise is undisturbed by any adverse circumstances, and the individual, amidst every kind of hardship, is resigned with perfect calm to the will of God. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Over to you, Karthik.
Aar Meher Baba ki jai. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, so we are reading Bal Natu's glimpses, and this is session number 13. We stopped at, I mean, such session number 14. We stopped at 281, page number 281, and we continue from that point on. So, any thoughts before we get started?
Yeah. Jai Baba. This is
No,
volume 2, right?
no, we're still in volume one.
Volume 1, part 2. Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Jai
So
Baba.
we're still in the 40s. I think we were in 1948 when we last read, right?
Yes.
Um, yes. So, um, Ashok ji, are you in a position to start reading first?
Yeah. Uh,
Then
any
you can start.
yeah. Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Distribution of bundles at Katol. After the first two phases of his tripartite work, Meher Baba commenced the third phase, connected with the poor. At the beginning of January 1948, the Mandali at Mehrabad were given the duty of tying up bundles, each one containing 8 pounds of jawar millet wrapped in a yard and a half of white cloths. Within a month, more than 4,000 bundles were bound and neatly stored in a room at Mehrabad. Baba instructed some of the Mandali to select different parts of the economically undeveloped areas in the district of Ahmednagar, and through local contacts of responsible persons and social workers, they delivered over 4,000 tickets to needy persons, irrespective of caste or creed. The word prasad was printed on each ticket. These individuals were instructed to collect the prasad at certain places on different dates. The name of Meher Baba was not disclosed. They were under the impression that a wealthy philanthropist was offering the food grain to them as charity. I take a pause here because it's you know this reminds me of of Gupta Dan. That means we do dan, but or we give alms or food or whatever, but without the uh, sanskara of creating that we are doing it, or the ego part of it, or just doing it selflessly. I find that that part of giving it selflessly is difficult because somewhere even the slightest of ego can slip in unknowingly. Any comments? I'm just taking a pause here. If anybody wants to say something, because this is the first thing I caught to my mind when I read this.
Yeah, yeah, very correct. As Baba says, move from selfishness to selflessness to recognizing the selfness in all, the same selfness, the biggest selfness in all, right? And yes, one of the key steps of philanthropy is philanthropy minus the I-ness. And the first step towards that is absolute anonymity. Easier said than done, like you also said.
I like that. Yeah, minus. Yeah, what you said? I minus. Whatever you said. Can you repeat that, please? You said
I don't know what I said. I think all I said was I-ness.
minus.
No,
I
Giving minus the
minus.
I-ness.
minus minus.
Uh,
Okay. Well,
Yeah, giving minus the I-ness. Yeah.
yeah. Good. 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 Good catch. Catch. Tagline. Anyway.
we'll make
Anybody?
this a philanthropy. We'll make this thing. This name is nice. If we do something for in Baba's name.
Sure.
Yes.
Giving minus the I-ness.
Uh,
Giving minus the minus. Yes.
Meher
Lovely.
Baba's giving minus the I-ness. Very good. We are
Wow.
starting this.
Wow. We
Huh?
have a good.
Oh, it also rhymes. I didn't realize. Okay, I'm on a
Uh,
roll this morning, huh?
yeah, you, baby, you got it.
Sorry. What was that?
I said it also rhymes. I said I'm on a roll this
You
morning.
are. You are on a roll. There's no doubt
Yeah.
about that. The work commenced on February 16th with a visit to Katol, which lies at the foot of the Western Ghats, 80 miles to the north of Ahmednagar. The advance party reached the town fairly early. In the compound of the dark bungalow, there were giant mango trees under which the invitees began to gather in groups. In one of the corners, water was being warmed for washing the feet of the poor. Meher Baba arrived at 8 a.m. Each person was led to the bathing room and asked to stand on a low stool. With one hand, Baba poured a mugful of lukewarm water over the feet, as the other hand swept over them. Wow. Any comments?
No, I mean everybody must have seen this video, so instantly one is carried to that moment of seeing Baba do this, right?
Yeah, so, and I
Yeah.
always go and see that stool on which he used to do, and I started, and I'm like, am I, am I even able to see this stool? I feel so overwhelmed in that, the
Mm.
museum they have kept the stool.
Yes.
One of the mandlis sitting at the exit, would dry the feet with a soft towel. Some of the mandlis then requested that the people sit in lines to get the bundles of grain. When Baba had washed the feet of all the ticket holders, he went into the next room where the bundles were piled, occupying a seat midway between the narrow corridors by which the villagers were to enter and leave. None of the mandi was allowed inside the room. Baba distributed the bundles in absolute privacy. Over 1,000 people have benefited and blessed at Baba's hands.
As we are reading and visualizing all of this, I remember we covered this in Wayfarers. Somehow the name Katol seems to be new, or maybe I'm not remembering it from the past, but this whole episode is covered in detail even there.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Uh, we,
It's
I don't,
80 miles, so it's about 120, 140 kilometers from Ahmednagar. So I don't know where this is.
just like
Yeah,
Christ, Baba paid a visit to Parner, 25 miles to the west of Ahmednagar on February 18th. Here it had been arranged to do the work of distribution in the local primary school. The procedure of washing the feet of the poor and giving out the bundles was outwardly the same as at Katol, but one small incident is worth mentioning. While waiting for the washing of feet, one of the crowd, an old man in rags, was overheard to say in English, pointing to Baba at work, just like Christ. I-81. Okay, that's William Donkin's The Wayfarers. Yes, you're right. Page 402. It was rare to find English speaking poor persons in the Indian villages. On February 20, Kharda was visited, a remote village to the southeast of Ahmednagar, where the school again provided the place for the work. 2 days later, a similar program was arranged in a refugee camp at Visapur. The people were mostly from Hindu families from Sindh who had migrated to India from Pakistan. At Visapur, the secret somehow leaked out to the poor that a saintly personality was going to wash their feet prior to giving prior to their being given the prasad. The refugees the refugees argued that in fact they should be allowed the privilege of washing his feet. When Baba arrived, he was told of their intention. He cancelled the program and instead donated a goodly sum as a contribution toward the camp welfare fund. This reminds me that we can't go against uh, the the orders or wishes of Baba. We just have to follow what he says because we can't understand the subtle or the hidden meaning behind whatever work he did. Jai Baba.
very true.
About 800 villages were collected on the premises of Mehrazad on February 29th. That's interesting. So it was a leap year. And they received bundles from Baba's hands. One humorous event in the solemn program gave Baba a hearty laugh. An elderly person, after receiving prasad, very gravely blessed Baba. Later, Baba remarked with a smile, "For a long, long time, I have been wanting someone to bless me." His humor was a delightful, inseparable aspect of his life. To compensate for the work that he had expected to do at Visapur, Baba instructed the Mandali to choose some other place. So Vambori, 20 miles off to the north, was selected. On March 7th, Baba visited the village and completed the distribution of the 4,000 bundles of grain to the poor. At the four villages, he also gave money as prasad to more than 200 people. Thus, the tripartite work of 40 days, which had been expected to be finished by February 25th, was concluded 10 days later. Mayor Baba once remarked regarding such work, "As Baba, I gave, as the poor, I received." His is the non dual life, a life of love that knows no separation.
As Baba, I gave, as the poor, I received. Wow. Okay, that closes the chapter number 18, and we start chapter 19. Visit to the Himalayas now. Uttarkashi 1948. Okay, any thoughts before we get into the Himalayas?
Yes, we have moving from Ahmednagar, the plains to Himalayas, and we have Nomita ji and Sunil who are from the hills.
क्या poetic linkages कर रहे हैं आज हाँ?
अभी
No,
ऐसे है
this I like. As Baba, I gave, and as what was the other?
Beautiful.
That's
As
so
the poor
beautiful.
I received. As the
So
poor I
he's
received.
always underlying
you
that
can
there are no two. There
you
is
can
one only.
underline highlight that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I mean for whenever we look into this again or
Yes.
shall I continue?
So if you want, we can also rotate the reading. Oman is here as well.
Oh
I don't
yes.
know if that counts as plains, coast, desert,
Yes.
or what
No, no, good
landscape, but
morning, Karthik.
good morning, good morning. So why don't you read before it becomes difficult for you? So if you're in a position, you can
I
read
can
right away.
continue. Yeah, I'm in a position. Jai Baba.
Okay, good to see you. And please start from chapter 19. Thank you, Ashokji.
Thank you, Karthik. It's really ephemeral. I mean, it's just great
Oh my
reading.
God. He's in his poetic best this morning, huh?
आज क्या हो रहा है यार?
I don't know. I really do not know.
Baba is in an English mood through Ashokji, huh?
Yes,
Baba's humor is around, yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, Praveenji.
Yeah, sure, sure. I'll start. Chapter 19, Visit to Uttarakanshi, 1948. Ordained Mission of the Avatar. As one reads the account of Meher Baba's contacts with the God-intoxicated souls, the musts, at the outset as well as in retrospect, one comes upon a phase unmatched in spiritual history. The work seemed so simple in its outward expression, yet in effect it was profoundly deep, so visible, but abundantly penetrating. Especially in the 40s, the work with musts was the must in Meher Baba's life. It far outweighed other phases to which he gave attention. The inner life of the must tendered a mystery, and so the channels through which Meher Baba reached his days being were inherently mystical. Baba underwent great inconveniences and hardships to reach the places where they dwelt. With ease of manner and the gentle love that was evident in him, he carried on his divine work as, as an ordained mission that none can take over until the avatar again becomes unformed. This advent occurs when humanity feels adrift and is in need of the star to sail by on the shoreless sea of life. India,
Beautiful.
nearest to the creation point. Yes, some comments on that paragraph because it was a beautiful paragraph.
No, yeah, I like
Again,
the last line.
as a
I want to,
continuation to
Could
the
you
discussion
please reread
poetically.
it, Jai Baba? Jai Baba, could you
Yeah, sure.
reread the paragraph, please, and a bit louder, or with slowly?
Yeah,
Thank
sure,
you.
sure. Yeah, sure. Ordained mission of the avatar. As one reads the account of Meher Baba's contacts with the god intoxicated souls, the musts, at the outset as well as in retrospect, one comes upon a phase unmatched in spiritual history. The work seems so simple in its outward expression, yet in effect it was profoundly deep, so visible but abundantly penetrating. Especially in the 40s, the work with musts was the must in Meher Baba's life. It far outweighed other phases to which he gave attention. The inner life of the must tendered a mystery, and so the channels through which Meher Baba reached his dazed being were inherently mystical. Baba underwent great inconveniences and hardships to reach the places where they dwelt. With ease of manner and the gentle love that was evident in him, he carried on his divine work as an ordained vision that none can take over until the avatar again becomes and form. This advent occurs when humanity feels adrift and is in need of the star to sail by, by on the shoreless sea of life. It is in line with the poetic lines that were coming in the morning. Am I audible? I'm audible, right? That's it?
Yes, yes, I was speaking on mute. I
Yes.
said exactly my thoughts.
Oh,
It is
okay.
Bal Natu's
Okay.
time to be poetic this morning, right? So just see those words. The Advent, this Advent
Yeah.
occurs when humanity feels adrift and is in need of the star. Again, a biblical reference, a need of the
Yeah.
star in capital to sail by on the shoreless sea of life. Though it is you're sailing, it's the shoreless sea of life. So very beautiful.
Yeah. Uh, 1 second. Yeah, screen has gone off. Sorry. Yeah, it's come back. India, nearest to the creation point, must, with their mysterious states and peculiar traits, as explained by Meher Baba, are mostly found in India. Very, we'll continue. Very little is known about them in other countries. If anything, it is in the form of distorted interpretation. Why should such God intoxicated souls be found in India mostly? It is a fair question. Instead of attempting to answer it myself, I will quote two paragraphs from the Wayfarers, perhaps the only book on the musts. A person of inquiring mind may wonder whether musts may be found in other parts of the world, and if they are not, then why is that India alone is gifted with such souls? Baba, in explaining this paradox to his disciples, told them once that India was nearest to the creation point and was therefore the most significant country in the world in the realm of spirituality. It was for this reason, he explained, that there were very few musts outside India and none in Europe or Americas, although there were mystics, saints, and God lovers there. He told them, however, that there were a few musts in Arabia, a few in Egypt, a very few in Iran, mostly in Meshed and Tabriz, and a very few in Tibet. It is therefore not surprising that in the Western world there are, as far as I am aware, no traditions about these God intoxicated souls, and that when a Westerner is confronted for the first time by the eccentric characteristics of a must, his reaction is quite possibly one of the incredulity and even one of incredulity and even abhorrence. Pardon to the
Again,
reference 82.
yeah, again, it's a beautiful two words to
Yeah.
represent the must, right? Incredulity and abhorrence, right? In fact, I
Okay. So,
distinctly remember. Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Just read the
pardon me
references.
with their meanings, sir, because I have heard for the first time this word. Sorry.
Okay, incredibility. I mean, incredulity is from the word incredible, right? So, the
Okay.
state of
Thank you.
being unwilling or unable to believe something, right? So it's just incredible, right? And unbelievable or whatever, right? And abhorrence is something negative. And why I think these two are very good words is that was my reaction the first time I understood and read these little accounts about must, saying, why are we even dealing with this, right? So
Abhorrent.
abhorrence, a feeling of repulsion,
Yeah,
disgust and loathing. Yeah, Ashok, you're saying
yeah.
something.
Mm.
I was just saying that it's hatred.
No, it's not hatred. It's not yet hatred. It's just see.
No,
I think just let's see the meaning
yeah,
again.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
yeah. It's
What is
like when
this?
you
Is
meet
it
a musk, they are so ugly looking and they are sitting in some dirty
Yes,
places
A,
and all
a
that. You
thought of
get that
yes, yes,
repulsive
yes.
feeling. Like, what is this?
Correct,
That
correct.
kind of thing. Who are these
So
kinds of
he
people?
has picked he has picked the perfect two words to describe it. And yeah, I think all of us might have experienced, like Sanjay Ji was saying now, right? Why are we having to read about this? Why is Baba worried about this? What is special? And so on and so forth. But obviously, there are his reasons.
okay, it's disgusting.
reasons beyond apprehension?
So the Oxford Dictionary says abhorrence is disgusting.
Yes, sir. Oxford.
Yeah,
No, it's not
yeah,
me. It's the
agreed.
dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Yeah, it comes to the same like, repulsion, disgusting kind of
Yeah, but even
feeling.
hatred was a word. So if you, do you see this
Mm.
when I do this pop up?
Yes, yeah, we do, we do,
Yeah,
we do, we do,
yes.
we do.
Okay. So the second thesaurus term is actually hatred. So you're not off
Oh,
the
Hatred.
mark.
no, I'm not on the mark. I'm just thinking aloud here, or questioning.
Don Bosco is kicking, man. Don Bosco, right?
No, it's Xavier.
St. Xavier, sorry.
I owe it to my teachers. Nothing else. We had a great
Father.
saint-like teacher called Father Wilsbacher. He was almost nominated for the Peace Prize, Nobel Peace Prize for a prize, Nobel Award for Peace.
Oh, that's great.
Anyway, and if you
Yeah,
all
that's
have
We
met,
lose
and if you
connect with what we
have,
were reading. No. I'm just saying let's continue because these large gaps disconnect us from what we were reading.
yeah, sorry.
yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah,
Please continue.
please. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, Jai Baba, I'll continue. Meher Baba did not feel it necessary to explain much about the subtleties involved in his work with the musts. Again, there was no rigid method employed in contacting them except that he expected them to be in good mood at the time of his meeting them. Some high musts were contacted only once, while a few had recurrent Baba contacts. Sometimes there was a seeming regional concentration as in Hyderabad and Baroda and the states of Uttar, should be Uttar Pradesh and Punjab. In 1948, this was also the case in Bombay. Baba paid a visit to that city in February 1948 and revisited it in March to contact those comrades of God, the musts. Musts of
Uh,
multifarious city.
I have a
Yes,
question here. So,
yeah.
do you know why Baba used the word must? I don't know. I'm asking.
They were always in Masti, like with a God.
Yeah, I think
That was the
it's
meaning of must, right?
must is also because I think God intoxication. So intoxication is the closest. So by the way, Bal Natu says in the earlier paragraph that this Wayfarers is probably the only book in spirituality that talks about must. So I think I might have mentioned this even when we were reading Wayfarers. The only other place I've seen not the word use of the word must, but the word God intoxication in a spiritual context is a book by Sri M. And the book was actually uh, uh, Apprentice to a Himalayan Master. That's the name of the book. But he talks about exactly God intoxication and describes similar experiences and of them being, and also refers to these souls being in a higher realm.
Yeah. Mhm.
You mean
Yeah, I
by
remember you
higher
mentioned it.
realms? You mean planes, higher planes?
Yes, I mean, yeah, realms, planes, yes.
Okay, thanks.
A
Continue,
question suddenly occurred to me.
Yeah, sure.
personal.
Musts of,
So,
yeah, continue.
to go to the higher planes, do you really have to become a must, or you can be in the higher planes without being a must?
Of course, you can be in the higher planes without being a must. Must is one of the mm, hierarchy of spiritual progress. I mean, spiritual planes, right? One
Other
second, I will
category.
actually correct exactly. So,
Hmm.
uh, if, do you remember the slides, Sunil? I'll probably bring that
Which
up if I
ones?
can. On the hierarchy of uh, these mass response.
My
Of
what's occurring to my mind is why would one become a must and not a normal progression?
It is
Uh,
not by choice, Sunilji. That's
choice,
what I feel.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it
Please go
just
ahead, Sunil.
happens. Yeah, it just happens as you progress. I mean, God has a different paths for people. So some pass through these kinds of Jalali, Zamali, and depends on the soul's journey. But it is not something that you choose to become a must. It's not a qualification or that kind. Yeah. That's what my take is. Yeah.
I guess it's the past and present sanskaras.
I see. Okay, yeah, we can
So
leave it at
it's
that.
a no, no. So it's not a choice. Very, very correct. And I would say that these are, to use another famous expression, these are people who are in stunned, right? Stunned into a state which they are not able to shake out of. And Baba's work was to get them moving along, or get them comfortable, or help them in a way in this in that body, right? So if you now if you see these slides, then Sunilji आपको याद आएगा.
Mhm.
Karthik, we can't see any slides. At least I can't
Just
see.
bringing it up. Just bringing it up.
Yeah, sorry.
Do you remember these? So these are
Yes,
all,
yes, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So if you see them, there's multiple things, and must is only one category. So if you see here, the must is, sorry, yeah, this will be the best one. So if you see the second bracket, which is first plane to uh, sixth plane, right?
Hmm.
That's the area where you can actually have musts. But
Right,
then there can be mushghools up to the third plane. There can be fifth plane god absorbed, and then of course the other categories of initiate, advanced, adept as well, right? So
right.
must and madzoob are just one thing, and you need not always go through the must phase to make progress. It's
Okay.
like Sanjay ji said, not by choice, and it is out of his infinite compassion that he decided to pick up this category of people to help the most.
Hmm.
One correction. You said must are like mazoops. No, must
No,
could
they are not.
also be a. Yeah. So probably
They are
that's what
not.
I
They are not
put.
like.
I
They are
think I
separate.
misunderstood probably, but they could be on
Yeah,
any
yeah.
place.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you please
So
bring the
must is different.
first slide
Madzoob is
again?
here, seven.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Shiva,
Madzoob is
Karthik.
only in the seventh plane. See,
Correct.
Mazub, the difference is they are not able to connect with the creative universe. They are not able to recognize the creative universe, and they've lost contact. Whereas Mus are in somewhat of a contact, in the sense that their bodily functions are normal. They are able to interact with the world, and the world recognizes their spiritual status in most cases, because there is a following the must generate or are able to inspire. Right? Okay,
Karthik,
let's get back to the reading.
can I get ask
One
you
more, one more question,
first
follow-on
one slide
question.
again? First slide. One
Okay,
second.
one second.
It was a little too fast. So, yeah, yeah. Thanks. This is quite Comprehensive, yes.
Yeah. So
ये slide कहाँ पे है?
if you see, it's on the Wayfarer subfolder. I'll drop the link right now. But if you
Okay.
see the second category, it's only one of the five category in one view. So you can have God merged, you can have God intoxicated, God absorbed, God communed, and God mad. One category is God intoxicated, which is must.
So we just now read that there are or no musts outside India.
Yes.
So if you go to the
Very
next
few.
slide, but are there people on the different planes outside India?
Yes. Baba
There are.
already says that in the paragraph as well that we read. So
Hmm.
agents
The mystic
and
saints,
saints, mystics are there all across the world. Musts as a special category are only subcontinent. And in fact,
Only in
that's what, like
Indian
he said,
subcontinent. Yeah.
Egypt, yeah,
But
Egypt, Arabia are exceptions, but otherwise it's subcontinent.
Hmm. It's and why is that? Because I still couldn't correlate.
Creation point. So
Okay.
that's it.
All
See,
All
right. Okay.
yeah,
cultures, all
you are
cultures.
born. You are born to a local to the area based on your sanskaras, right? So that's probably these are the areas in the last journey. That's one. Other thing, the table that you are showing, must could be all around. I mean, I think as a must is a very generic term which for aspirants who are already getting into path and the ones that we call show a particular behavior. But the god intoxicated in the table that you are showing, it's very bracketed. So they could be anywhere around those planes, those verticals. That's what my understanding.
Okay.
No, so I'll just add to that, Sanjay ji. So when we are looking for a definition, especially in the context of the Baba world, it's very clear that Baba says uh, it's not loosely defined. So must is somebody who is permanently enjoying a state of divine intoxication, can be on any plane, 1 through 6, and like I was saying, he is aware of his spiritual place, of his spiritual standing. So it's not like he knows that he has certain spiritual gifts. So he knows that he can probably see through people. He can probably predict events. If you recollect the Musk stories that we have read in Wayfarers, some used to predict events, some used to bless people, some used to see through events and advise people, and so on and so forth. So people used to revere them. They used to go and fall at their feet, take his blessings, whatever, and even take stock tips or betting tips. Like there was a famous must in Bombay who used to give gambling tips, horse racing tips, and
Uh,
he used to always
yeah,
succeed. Right. So
correct.
these are definitive and I would say not vague definition of must.
जय बाबा,
Okay.
तो सुनील जी,
Yeah.
आप जो बोल रहे थे कि why it's happening in this part of the world, Baba has, or somewhere it's mentioned in the spiritual text that the East is more spiritually inclined and the West is more materially inclined. Having said that, there's a combination of both, but the orientation towards spirituality is more in the eastern part of the globe.
ठीक है जी. Accepted all the answers. Jai Baba. Thank you.
Okay. Please
Yep.
continue, Praveen ji.
yeah, correct. Just one thing, please correct me. I, as far as I remember, Meher Baba mentions some places that the spiritually advanced soul, in their advancement, when they are through, when they are going through the to a perfect master, it is a different way. But when they advance without the help of perfect master, is when sometimes this must comes actually. Like without the help of when they go advance without the help of perfect master, they end up in like in the to be musts, and they need help to progress. and Mehbooba has come, like he has done most of the work to help them to progress. Uh,
Correct.
is this
Correct.
correct? Yeah.
Correct. So it's basically they, like I said, stunned in a particular uh plane and particular point of progress, and need in that birth help of a master to proceed to make further progress.
Yeah.
And Baba picked on this category in this advent to help them make that progress as easily as possible. And
Yeah.
like we said, he's made thousands of contacts.
Yes.
Yeah.
And not only the must, it is even the godman. Baba has clearly mentioned that even the godmans come only, like not only India up to this Middle East. He has clearly mentioned that because of the plane at which it is located in the whole creation, it is the only possible place where godman can take birth. We cannot understand the semantics of it or the actual physical difference, but because we don't know the whole creation and the reasons behind it. But Baba has clearly mentioned that this is the place only where the godman can come. And I even think that even the perfect masters also only come here, like India up to Middle East. I can't confirm that, but Baba clearly said godman like avatars only take birth here. That is like not only the reference to the must, but also even to the avatars.
I
Yeah,
think you're right on the perfect masters as well. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, yes.
It is said that they visit this land at least. I mean, the Christ at least, the story of his
Yeah,
final.
Christ visited.
Yeah, yeah, visited. So birth,
Visited.
I'm not sure whether the birth word was used, but they have been
Yeah,
around
it is
this
used.
land. All the avatars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. But we will continue.
Please.
Musts of the multifarious city. Immediately after the tripatriate phase of 40 days mentioned earlier, Baba recommended his work with the masts in full swing. He visited Pune on the first day of March to contact Shastri Kher. This advanced pilgrim chose as his residence the open space near the vegetable market in the heart of the city. Once he had been a Shastri, meaning well versed in the scriptures, and his knowledge had attracted crowd of people to him. Later he discarded the load of learning, and the government felt impelled to visit him. The second series of must contacts in Bombay commenced March 15, 1948. The first one was Haji Nur Ahmad Baba, a Pathan in his 60s. He, like Shastri Kher, had once been a religious teacher. All of a sudden, he realized the worthlessness of the intellectual approach to God. It was propitious at this propitious moment that he was hit with the arrow of God love. The impact was so tumultuous that Nur Ahmad began to roam naked in the streets. What blessedness, what blessedness to get lost in the wonder of the blissful presence. Baba referred to this type of must as ittefaki, he explained. And ittefaki is a must who, without any love or longing, becomes suddenly and accidentally intoxicated by divine love. The dominant mood or behavior of an ittefaki at the very moment of becoming intoxicated by divine love colors all his subsequent behavior as a must. At the time of contact, Noor Ahmad was at Kurla, a suburb of Bombay, and he was held in great reverence by his kinsmen, the Pathans.
So that's from
Wait for
page
that.
30. I'll quickly show you Ittifaqi. So there are eight categories of mus or types of mus, and Ittifaqi is the first column, second. Moderately rare, accidentally becomes a must. And other attributes are he wears iron rings and other pieces of iron and makes sweeping arm movements. And then he loves chai, loves cigarettes, and also pan. It's this is all from the same slide deck that you're seeing. Yeah, go ahead. Actually, we
In
can
all,
also rotate the reading if Ashish or Sunil wants to read. Sanjay ji has not read for a long time.
I can read if no one is reading
Yeah,
right now.
maybe after that, Sanjay ji. Yes, please. Thank you so much, Praveen.
yes, yes, Baba. Yes.
Jai Baba.
In all, Baba contacted 11 mosques in Bombay. Shah Sahib was an advanced pilgrim. He always preferred to move about and wore long black kafni. One mosque located in Bhendi Bazar was a great pan chewer, and a red spittle had colored his clothes to a large extent. He had remarkable eyes. They reflected a blending of sights of the far off horizon and the heaven within. The naked Dhuniwala Baba was unmindful of the seasons that passed. All day long he sat by the fire of the Dhuni. Ahmad Mastan was a good must. He was always seen with a gunny sack around his belly. He had in his masti given up all other worldly riches. Syed, Syed Nur Ali Shah, with rings on all his fingers, was in the habit of constantly murmuring something to himself or to others. At the time of contact, Baba seemed to enjoy every bit of his nonsensical talk. It is said that,
Nonsensical talk.
yeah, nonsensical talk. It is said that the irrelevant words of must sometimes display mystical foreknowledge, though rarely. Nuruddin Must Baba, swathed in dirty rags, roamed about everywhere in the city and slept anywhere he liked. Another must, Ali Hussain, would sit silently at different places, gazing mostly at the blue sky as the years passed by. After contacting these diverse types of musts in the multi-farious city of Bombay, Baba returned to Ahmednagar. But within a week, he left his headquarters for an extended tour to visit the eastern and northern parts of India in search of God intoxicated, God communed, and God absorbed souls. Calcutta, the eastern gate of India. The main target on this tour was a visit to Uttar Kashi in the Himalayan region. Gustaji Kaka, Baidul, Chagan, and Erach accompanied Baba. On the way to Calcutta, the party stopped at Ambikapur, Madhya Pradesh, where Baba was received with a great ovation by Jal Kerawala, who held a high government post as a commissioner at Ambikapur. I never had the opportunity to intimate have an intimate talk with Jal Kerawala, but he has one with whom I wished I had some acquaintance. With his noble face, he looked so personable that one could not but grow fond of him. He was one of Meher Baba's enduring disciples, and he was also one of the few persons whose residence was visited by Baba during the mosque tours. This tour was no exception, and Baba stayed at Ambikapur for a day and even agreed to hold a small darshan program. On March 30, 1948, Baba arrived at Calcutta, the eastern gate of India. There he boarded a train for Dhaka, then the capital of East Pakistan, now Bangladesh. But as the train reached Ranaghat, the frontier station, Baba decided to change to a train that would take them back to Howrah, Calcutta. The Mandali dared not question Baba about this. They knew that they had to play their parts blindfolded, as it were, with the conviction that the God man knows best. This apparently indecisive and restless mood of Baba's continued even more during his stay in Calcutta until the first must had been contacted, an out of the way condition. By the time the return train reached Calcutta, it was 7:30 in the evening and Baba consented to stay in a hotel for the night. Eraj knew the hotel where Baba had lodged during their last visit, but this time Baba put forward an out of the way condition. He proposed that his room should be at the end of a corridor and that there should be a vacant room between his room and the Mandali's. It was expected that the manager of the hotel will not charge the party of the vacant room. Erach was interested with this task. To his surprise, he found that one hotel had three vacant rooms on the fifth floor. He told the manager that his elder brother, Baba, was very sick and was in need of a quiet atmosphere. So the manager agreed to give them the requested accommodations. Erach had to spend more than an hour on this hotel hunt. When the party arrived from the station, the Mandali thought exhausted, felt happy that Baba had gotten the rooms he desired. At midnight, Baba complained that the banging away at anvils in a nearby workshop,
Anvils
anvils,
basically what do you say? Blacksmith keeps hitting on that, no? That's what it is. Yeah.
okay, anvils in a nearby workshop caused to great disturbance. Eraj, who was the night watch, went down the 5 flights of stairs and implored the proprietor of the workshop to discontinue the clanging for the sake of his elder brother, who was very ill. The man consented to stop the noisy work. After an hour or so, Baba, who had very sharp ear, detected some soft movements in the adjoining room. He told Eraj to inquire of the manager regarding this breach of promise. Eraj was told that a respectable couple had unexpectedly arrived at the hotel and the room was vacant and the Baba party was not paying for it anyway. The room was given to them. On his way back, Erach knocked at the door of the occupants and explained to them about the delicate health of his elder brother, and they agreed to be noiseless as possible. The master, the wisest of the wise. A few minutes passed, and there was a tap on the door of Baba's room. Baba looked irritated, and Erach opened the door. He found a waiter with ice water. Perhaps the waiter mistook the room and it was intended for the newly arrived couple. Whatever it was, by this time, Baba firmly announced there would have to be change in hotels. He gestured, I cannot stand this commotion. We must move on to some quiet hotel. After a certain point, none of the Mandali would argue with Baba. Being convinced of the spiritual burden that Baba bore for humanity, they kept quiet and humble, whatever he did or ordered in his agitated moods. Agitated moods. Eraj woke up the Mandali resting in the other room and conveyed Baba's decision to change their hotel. Without raising any objection, they all started packing up the bundles of luggage. Gustaji, who had been observing silence for over 2 decades, began to convey something to Erach through gestures. Erach, in exasperation, said, God bless me. I have to attend two dumb persons. Just at this moment, Baba stepped into the Mandali's room. Looking at Erach, he gesticulated, Am I dumb? Erach felt very sorry. He apologized, and Baba smiled away the remark. Half asleep and half awake, the party descended the stairs. At the time of settling the bill, there was some haggling at the counter. The man at the desk wondered at the behavior of this group, for they seemed to come from noble and respectable families. While the luggage was being loaded into tangas, the proprietor of the nearby workshop recognized Eraj and said, You asked me to stop the noisy work of molding the iron. I agreed to it for the sake of your sick brother. Now you are leaving the hotel at such an odd hour. How wonderful. What could the Mandali do except apologize again and again to appease the man? Perhaps Baba, who was sitting on the back seat, enjoyed this joke. Because of Baba's strange condition regarding a vacant room, it was difficult to get the required accommodations, and the cabs moved on from hotel to hotel. At last, by 6:30 in the morning, the party was lodged in a hotel. The previous night, the Mandali had no supper, so Baba allowed them to have a fine feast, and all felt refreshed. But within 2 hours, Baba, on one pretext or the other, wished to change the hotel again. Why? He had his own reasons, that's all. This incident is given in detail to show that while engaged in his spiritual work, sometimes Mer Baba will be, to all appearances, extremely restless. The Mandali,
Extremely restless, I think.
yeah, extremely
One,
restless. The Mandali accompanying him had to bear the brunt of his moods in the form of inconveniences, but with a cheerful spirit. Only after contact of first must in Calcutta did Baba's mood begin to show signs of his usual calm and gay nature. Here, I am
gay
reminded
nature. Uh,
gay
I
nature.
think it's, I mean, just think through this one episode itself, right? It's mind-boggling how what all the Mandali had to deal with. He
Yeah,
puts a very unreasonable condition, right? I mean tough condition, not unreasonable. Very tough condition. You ask for a set of rooms where one room is left vacant in between, and there is a condition on the type of corridor as well. And they search and find it, and then he switches hotels thrice after and still imposes the same condition, right? So and uh, a part of us should be thinking, why should the avatar do this? Why should one who is omniscient, one who is able to know the whole world and every aspect of it and everything in occurrences, why should he do this? Obviously, there is a reason. The experiences that the Mandali is going through, as well as those protagonists in those hotels, and the blacksmith, probably everybody had some experience that they had to go through because of this. Is what I make of it. But just a thought exercise. Just think of this whole episode and see what is Baba trying to do. It's mind-boggling.
Yeah. There are several such incidents. There was one in Bombay where Baba had stayed in a hotel in Bandra. There was too much of noise, and they changed the hotel, and there, there are several such incidents. And they could barely sleep for a couple of hours, and then he asked them to roll up the beds and go. Many times the time was so short that they just, some like guest houses or halls, they just slept on the floor. Early morning, they wash their faces and go away. Like that. It's so difficult.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah. Uh, here I here I am reminded of two couplets that Dr. Eghani Munsif once explained to me. The lines in Urdu and free interpretations follows. However, humiliating it may appear in the company of the master, the real life lies in annihilating your ego, the center of intellectual reactions. Whatever the master does, do not question his wisdom. He is not mad, but the wisest of the wise. He is that moth, Parvana, God in human form, through whom, strangely enough, the flame, Shama, the light of lights, is revealed. O worldly wise, you have no idea of the life of love, which includes infinite contradictions. Contacting must in Calcutta. In the morning on March 31st,
Jay Baba, I just want to pause. Um, uh, there's some the previous paragraph which you read, a few lines which you read, is worth highlighting, and it's also linked with the couplets of Hafiz in some way. Can you read that again, please? If you, Karthik, is others, if it's okay, can we read again?
yeah, yeah.
sure.
However, humiliating it may appear, in the company of the master, the real life lies annihilating, annihilating your ego, the center of intellectual reactions. Whatever the master does, do not question his wisdom. He is not mad, but the wisest of the wise. He is that moth, Parvana, God in human form, through whom, strangely enough, the flame, Shama, the light of lights, is revealed. O worldly wise, you have no idea of the life of love, which includes infinite contradictions.
Shama and Parvana is again a frequently used Eastern analogy, or maybe what should we say, Sufi analogy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
On that note, we can also rotate again the reading. Sanjay ji, are you in a position to read for a bit?
Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah.
Thank you, Ashish.
Jai Baba.
Yeah, Baba.
In the morning on March 31, the first must Meher Baba contacted was Mastan Shah. He was rough. He was a rough, tough person with this sunburnt skin, so common with the musts. He would loiter in the locality known as Central Avenue, muttering words as they come from musts, do not make sense to us, but in some cases they sound like notes from a deep bell with pleasing intonation. Intonation.
Intonations.
Yeah,
Intonations.
intonation.
Intonations. Yeah.
Intonations. Baba appeared happy with this must contact, and there was a marked change in his mood. Ramdas, Samsher Dada, and Rahim Shah were old and moderate musts. He was said It was said about Sufi Sahib that for over a decade or so he did not sit or even squat, but rather walked or remained standing. At the time of Baba's contact, however, there had been a marked change in his outward behavior. He preferred to stay in a tiny room where he sat all day. On April 1, Baba woke up very early and resumed work, contacting a mosque at 4 a.m. Next was a moderate must, Abdul Rahman, who was very fond of cats and dogs. Shah Jahan was a high must of the fifth plane. He had besides him He had beside him heaps of dusty, musty books, only good as junk. The room had no windows, and any possible ventilation through the door was blocked by a thick curtain. It can well be stated that the life of a must is not a life of stoical suffering or self denial, but of God reliance. Divine providence alone protects him. Baba visited last one God intoxicated soul who was abnormally fond of sweet oil. His body was smeared with oil, and his clothes were drenched with it. He drank oil with fervor in the ample quantity of sweet drinks. In short, the must looked very filthy. Baba sat alone with him, and the quiet appeal made in silence had a good response. The must beamed with joy, and Baba also looked happy and remarked that it was the best contact in Kolkata. With this meeting, Baba's work in the great city and his restless mood too were over. She caught with intense longing. By evening of Baba, by evening the Baba party boarded the Doon Express at Kolkata, West Bengal, for Haridwar, Uttar Pradesh. They reached here on April 3, 1948, and Baba wished to proceed to Uttarkashi, a sacred place in the hollowed Himalayas, 4,000 feet above sea level. It stands on the banks of the river Bhagirathi, which further downstream is known as Ganga or Ganges. From days of old center of pilgrimage has been regarded as the reputed seat of Sanskrit learning. Its religious atmosphere has become sanctified by the advanced souls which have dwelt there over the years. At present, buses can take one ride to this place. But in 1948, to reach Uttarkashi, pilgrims had to go on foot or ride on mules from Tehri Gaiwal. The road was very unsafe and unprotected. At Haridwar, Kaka and Chagan were entrusted with the work of buying provisions for the journey to Uttarkashi and back. With Baidul, Gustaji, and Iraj, Baba set off to look for advanced sadhus and musts. As they were moving through the crowded lanes, Baba pointed out an old man in rags sitting on a wooden platform. He told Iraj to ask this person about the mosque in Haridwar. After collecting the information, the Baba party went on. Soon it was noticed that the man in rags was following them. Finding him rather persistent, Baba asked one of the Mandli to ascertain the reason for his pursuit. Then yeah. As the man responded by saying, I am in search of the master, the Sadguru. In the next breath, directly addressing Baba with all humbleness, he said, I feel you are my master. He gazed at Baba and waited for his answer. Look, Baba appeared pleased at his frank remark, and the man was overjoyed. Baba blessed the old man and asked him to love God with intense longing, and he would help him. After contacting some musts and sadhus in the city, Baba himself reopened the topic of the old man and praised how silently and deeply he longed for the sight of God. But then, just then, the same old man reappeared. Baba called him close and gave him 3 oranges as prasad. Baba again advised him, seek God within you with ever increasing love. One day you will see him. my blessings. Meher Baba's name was not disclosed to this old man, but his august presence did what was needed. A teenager, a thirst for God. While moving incognito through all India, Baba had blessed and guided many a sincere soul. Rarely was his identity disclosed. Here is the story of a teenager who had left his home to find a Sadguru of his own choice. It was in 1942, the year when Meher Baba traveled over 15,000 miles from Rawalpindi, now in Pakistan, to Tanjore, Tamil Nadu, to contact about 200 mosques. In June 1942, he was at Rishikesh, which is about 10 to 15 miles from Haridwar. Baba was then staying with his eastern and western disciples in the bungalows of Rani Singhai in the area known as Swarg Ashram, a sort of forest ground. In those days, in this particular location, there was some huts in which sadhus lived and practiced sadhana. One day, while returning to the bungalow, Iraj noticed a handsome boy about 14 years old lying in one of the dilapidated huts. Iraj remembered Baba's instruction to find me ideal boy for his contact. So naturally, Iraj asked him if he would visit the hut. Baba agreed and accompanied Iraj there. Baba instructed Iraj to ask the boy his background and his intentions in being there. The boy spoke in Hindi and told Dheeraj that he was from Ambala, where his parents resided. Because of an insatiable longing to see God, he had he felt impelled to leave his home and decided to live in Swargashram. Dheeraj asked him if he had a master. The Baba answered, "No. There are many area auras who can talk, and the mere words mean nothing. I earnestly desire a Sadguru who knows but does not speak." At his Iraj gave him some information about Meher Baba and his silence. The Baba said with dignity. The boy said with dignity, "Yes, I have recently heard about Meher Baba. I also learned that he is residing somewhere in the neighborhood." He added, however, "But Meher Baba is too great to accept me." Just then Baba came forward, and it was the most delightful moment in that young boy's life. There opened up within him a great awareness, and the beats of his own heart convinced him of Baba's godhood. He knew that the God was compassionate. But now he was even more sure when one is sincerely receptive of the will of God, he finds a shower of grace pouring upon him. Jai Baba. Somebody take over reading.
Lovely. Lovely. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Sanjay ji. Sunil ji, are you in a position to read?
Okay, I will. The four
Hey.
orders. Let me put on my specs. Just a moment, please. Yeah. ऐनक लग गई है. Oh, okay. The four orders, where Baba conveyed through gestures that he was ready to be the boy's master, but he would never see him again in his physical form. If he was willing to abide by his condition, Baba wished him to obey four orders during his lifetime. Then would come a timeless moment, Baba assured, when the boy would find God in his own heart as the eternal companion. Without any hesitation whatsoever, the boy happily consented, and Baba stipulated the following four orders. In your entire lifetime, Never touch a woman with the intention of lust. Constantly and earnestly crave to realize the divine beloved God. Don't touch money. Beg for your food. Repeat all the time, Hari Om Narayan. Baba
Om
had
Hari
asked,
Narayan.
Om Hari Narayan, sorry. Baba had asked the boy his choice for repeating the name of God, and he chose this. Baba confirmed this as a Guru mantra. How difficult. Can you go back to the four? Never touch money, beg for your food, never touch a woman. Uh,
Yeah.
tough life for the guy. Yeah, but hopefully he attained whatever
Talking
he
of
had set out.
which, Mahu, did you embark on your four conditions last week? What we were discussing? Did you start it? The
Mm,
25 days.
oh, two of them. Yes, yes. Well,
Oh,
it's
good.
so interesting that all of a sudden my health has started acting up and I couldn't eat. I swear I could not eat till 2 or 3 p.m. one meal.
Okay.
And well, of course, morning I woke up with the coffee, and afternoon I do another one just to wake up and get caffeine boost. But uh, yeah, just two of them.
Okay. Good. Still good.
What did we say? What did we say? Did we say let's do it? I don't remember.
No, you
I don't remember.
volunteered, so I'm just checking. I think
Yeah. See,
all of us were cagey and hesitant. You were the one that said, "Yes, I'm going to try it."
yeah, it naturally happened, Kartik, and it is
Good.
my belief system with Baba. If you set your intention with him and develop your faith in him, he helps you. I just think that with this, even up to today, it hasn't gone.
Wow.
This condition of nausea and feeling of vomiting that I have, and I don't even know why. As soon as I wake up in the morning, I have it. It's bad,
Wow.
but it has prevent me from eating. So it's
Mm.
not that my discipline made me really do it, but the circumstances of life also like that.
So for the others, we read of a similar condition Baba imposed for 25 days for the similar set of conditions. And we were discussing what would we as readers in the group do in reaction. And many of us, I think, felt one or two conditions were good. Mahu said the same, but she said she wants to try it. And one of the conditions was be eating just one meal a day. Second was being silent. Third was to feed a poor person by their own hands. First, you have to find a poor person and then feed by their own hands. And fourth was meditate for 1 hour every day. Two times a day. 1 hour, no, 1 hour every day. These were the
Yeah,
four
1 hour a day.
conditions. Yeah.
And it was another
Oh,
one
also
that
the fifth one is no sexual contact, right?
exactly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's my second one.
yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
couldn't, and meditation is, thank you for reminding me. Meditation is really, we could accomplish, 1 hour a day. There's a
Mm.
mantra I do early in the morning for 20 minutes, but I forgot that that could be extended to 1 hour a day. So, yeah.
Okay. All the
It's
best in the
never too
coming
late,
week.
Kartik. We can start from today, right?
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
yeah, or others can participate too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So I hope you feel better on the stomach side and the body side soon, but all the best. And
Thank
may
you.
she inspire others to do it as well.
Yeah, and Baba inspires us to do it.
Yes, yes.
All right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Thank you for,
yeah.
Mahu,
I forgot. Jay Baba.
Jai Baba Mahu,
Jai Baba.
uh, what you couldn't do last week, of course you'll do in future. And thanks for inspiring us.
Oh, of course, it's Baba. It's all Baba. Everything is Baba. US election was Baba. Everything is Baba.
Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes.
100%, 100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Great.
Jai Baba.
Okay,
Any
I shall go for it. Go for it. I want to hear it next week.
Yes.
should I
Yeah,
start?
Sunilji, yes, yeah, please.
Yes. Okay. The meeting was over. Baba smiled and thus assured the boy of his inner health. The teenager smiled with him, expressing that he would wholeheartedly abide by Baba's orders to his last breath. Baba left the hut, and the boy, with all love in his eyes, continued to watch him until he was out of sight, for he was not to see that beloved form again. The next day, Baba sent the boy a photo medal with Baba's form engraved on it and a small booklet which gave information about Baba's life. A mat was also delivered to him, along with some flour to be eaten as Baba's prasad. The boy felt overwhelmed with these gifts. He continued to live in the woods of Rishikesh, famous for black scorpions and poisonous snakes. But now he was all the more fearless, for he had taken refuge in the omnipresent and omniscient God man, Meher Baba. Wonderful were Baba's ways in meeting and guiding his dear lovers, and after the dropping of his body, his grace continued to be even more incredible and full of grace. Seekers and pilgrims of Uttarkashi. After a very short stay in Haridwar, Baba reached Rishikesh on April 4, 1948. 9 porters were hired to carry the luggage of the party to Uttarkashi via Tehri Garhwal, the last outpost for bus traffic. Tehri was a small town lying in a hot, steamy valley, and the track to Uttarkashi was narrow and rough. It was traversed at one's peril. The walk often raised blisters on the toes, and in the summer the sun beat down on one's back. In short, it was a hazardous and wearisome march, but contacting the love-thirsty seekers and pilgrims of Uttarkashi was the need of the time. On April 7, the party set out on foot from Tehri Garhwal. The first stop was the forest bungalow of Jansu, and the second was the Kambaliwala Chetty Dharmshala at Dharasu. Baba reached Uttarkashi on April 9, and all made themselves comfortable in Birla House, a massive dharmshala. The divine outings to contact pilgrims and sadhus commenced the next day. Palahari Baba was an initiate pilgrim. He subsisted only on fruit, flower, and roots. He wore just a loin cloth, irrespective of cold weather in winter. Ramananji, another advanced soul, went a step further. He used to remain naked all year round. He was also observing silence. He lived in a hut a few miles away but visited Uttarkashi to collect his daily bread. Ganganam Maharaj lived in Kailas Ashram. His room was quite dark, but his advanced soul, who was fairly old, spent most of the time reading one book or another. Baba liked Ganganan and so paid him a second visit. The old man looked overjoyed and his happiness was redoubled. To contact some other seekers, Baba had to tread narrow footpaths over hills and through valleys. Among the 10 seekers and sadhus contacted at various places was a centenarian named Mangalgiri Maharaj. His back is so bent and his body so thin that when he squats, his head almost touches his feet. This visit of Baba's made Mangalgiri feel that his long life was amply rewarded and that he was blessed. Loving gestures of flying kisses.
Sorry. The
Right.
book
Oh,
reference, I mean, the end note
yeah.
is William Donkin,
William Donkin. Yeah. The
uh,
Wayfarers, the
page
work of
11.
Meher Baba with advanced souls, March to May 1948, page 11. Uh, yeah. Loving gestures of flying kisses. A contact with a must from Bengal, who had decided to stay in this far off place, should be mentioned. This god intoxicated soul, Nirguna Nandji, was in his 80s. His face, or rather his whole frame, was as wrinkled as a walnut. His shabby clothes, seemingly unwashed for days, showed signs of long use. In spite of his age, his blitzkrieg and energy were admirable. He lived in a small, low room in the Durga Devi temple. Welcoming Baba, the must personally led him to the room. It was late evening and darkness prevailed inside, so Nirgunandanji lit a match and began to look at Baba. The light informed. Beholding the divine luster on Baba's face, he seemed immensely delighted. Baba joined him in his gay mood. Perhaps for Baba, this was the last and the most pleasing contact of the day. By the daybreak the next morning, Baba was once again visiting huts and cottages to contact ardent aspirants and God mad Mas. Vishnudat Digambar lived in a nearby village named Tilot. He was an outstanding personality, and Baba remarked that he was must, saint, and child rolled into one. It may be that as a must he wore no clothes, as a saint he was observing silence, and as a child he begged for food at one of 5 houses, and only at those 5. He ate with pleasure, and whatever he received, Baba gestured that he was a must of a high type. They seemed extremely happy to meet each other, and it was a comfort for them to be in each other's arms. After the meeting, as Baba departed, the must made very loving gesture of flying kisses towards Baba. To witness such love signal was an unforgettable sight. The rich spiritual inheritance of Uttarkashi. On April 12, Baba visited a seeker named Ramanandji. He had long ash-dubbed hair. Being naked, he was also known as Nanga Baba. The last meeting, but not the least, was with Devi Giri Maharaj. In a way, it was the first and the foremost contact of an advanced soul in Uttarkashi, because while journeying by train from Calcutta to Haridwar, Baba pointed out at Benares a venerable old man in ochre-colored robes who was flanked by 2 young sannyasis. Referring to him, Baba remarked, "A very good soul." He then asked Savage to make inquiries about the man. It turned out that he was from Uttarkashi, where he had an ashram, and he was on the return journey. Owing to the request of some of his devotees, Devagiri Maharaj left the Doon Express at Ayodhya. However, perhaps as wished by Baba, he returned to his headquarters in time to receive the blessed and redeeming touch of the real one, too, whom he was wholeheartedly devoted, albeit under a different name and in different form. Because of the presence of such rare souls as Nirgunanandji, Vishnudat, Devagiri Maharaj, and a few others, Uttarkashi maintained its rich spiritual atmosphere. On April 13, Baba left Uttarkashi. By the 18th, he had reached Agra via Delhi and he remained there for 3 days. The main motive, of course, was to meet Mas and feed them with his love. A few seekers also had Baba's heavenly and healing touch. One prominent Mas was Masjid Baba. He considered himself to be the emperor of Agra, but his choice of residence was so close to the mental hospital. Baba told the Mandali that in spite of his nonsensical talk and his seat near the asylum, he was a good one. Hadi Baba lived in a mosque and was fond of giving away money, whatever he had at hand, to the people. He referred to his room in the mosque as a tavern and to himself as a drunkard. He meant that the wine he had was the wine of love for God. By April 22, 1948, Baba had returned to Ahmednagar and he brought with him a lively, appealing creature. In succeeding years, it reminded Mandi of those thrilling, perilous outings near Takashi in search of earnest seekers and spiritually advanced souls.
I think that should be the end of the chapter. Yes, it is. Very interesting.
Yes,
So,
yeah, Baba.
on that note, we will wrap up and pick up from 20th chapter in the next session. But it was a lovely, enjoyable read this morning. I think all of us had interesting experiences and thoughts. And all the best to you, Ashok, now for continuing the baton that is passed by Mahu. So we'll test you on the next five conditions on next week on the five conditions.
I don't know
And
about the five conditions, but at least I'll try to maintain one or two. That includes I'll try to do meditation for 1 hour. That might be
okay.
a doable thing because usually do some meditation, but I just did not do it for 1 hour. What is the condition for meditation?
No, there was no condition. It's just that you have to meditate for 1 hour a day.
1 hour a
I
day.
am also joining. I will do this meditation
Hey,
for 1 hour
no,
this week.
no, Namita ji, being the angel that you are, can you drive that for us? I mean,
Yes, of course I can drive it.
आपने
Always.
पहले भी कराया था. So if
जी
you
जी
set up a calendar time, we'll simply just join that. That's all.
ठीक है जी ये टाइम वाइम तो नहीं मुझे आता है बट जब मैं when I'm doing it I will send you a link or something on your WhatsApp and then you can join me when I do
Yes.
it in the evenings or in the mornings.
And
ठीक है जी
उसमें उसमें और कंडीशन क्या है? फास्टिंग भी है क्या?
आपको
1 meal a
फास्टिंग
day.
है
1 meal a
आपको
day.
फास्टिंग है और आपको कुमुद की तरफ देखना ही नहीं
नहीं वो तो अभी
No, see,
if I can say अभी अभी 14 साल हो गए वनवास.
ओहो ये तो बहुत है चल आप आधा घंटा मेडिटेट कीजिए
नहीं अभी जो समझने वाले समझ गए, जो ना समझे वो ना.
oh,
राम जी भी वनवास के बाद वापस आए
अभी चलो anyway.
Mahu is missing all the
I'm
fun
sorry.
because we switched to Hindi.
Sorry, Mahu, I'm speaking Hindi, but Mahu, it is really inspirational that you're driving us to rethink on how do we, you know, try to inculcate those 5 conditions into our lives. And
Yeah. So again, it's not too much of. I said this even the last week. I'll repeat. There's not too much of importance of these five conditions other than the fact that it just appeared in our reading. And I again underline that it was given by Baba with a specific purpose at that time for the Mandali, right? So it's not that it's applicable to all. It
no,
just came to my thought that, hey, what would we do as readers in this group if we were told to do it? Can we adopt it? So please bear that in mind as you take this little challenge or little attempt at bringing discipline to our lives, but don't give it more importance than that.
I
ag-
think
Kartik,
what
for the
actually embarks with practicing at least 2 or 3 of this is it can help you to deal with your desires. You know
Yes.
how we're very impulsive about eating something, like all of a sudden see something, put it in your mouth and put it in your mouth, put it, and find food as a remedy for our fatigue, tiredness, this, that. Um, that helps actually with, like, eventually you lose the interest. Eventually you lose interest. They were telling me, oh, why don't you have a little of this? I said, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. And I didn't even miss it. You see, I didn't miss it. But I should, thank my illness too. So it was like combination.
Sure.
But it helps. Anything that Baba has said at that time, perhaps he wanted to get some work done through his mandalis. It's all about that. But anything that Baba has said, if we do it, it will help us. That's my belief.
Mahu,
Yes.
Jay Baba, Mahu, you hit the nail on the dot. It is basically getting rid of our cravings, or at least if you can reduce our cravings, then that is like creating less sanskaras is what I feel mathematically. But yeah, but at least we can attempt, of course, be on the path. And Karthik, of course, we know that this is only a reading, but we can take some takeaways or lessons from this.
Absolutely. And it will only help. It will not harm anything. So,
That exactly.
yeah.
So
Yes, yes.
use
Thank you
that.
so much. We've gone over time, but thank you for staying back. Enjoy your Saturday, and see you tomorrow for discourses in the morning. Avatar Meher Baba
Hey,
ki
Baba
jai.
Baba
ki
ki.
jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki
Kartik,
Jai.
Kartik,
Yeah, yeah, Mahu.
one, I think, oh, thank you for saying this, because I joined about 7:05 or something my time, previous time,
Mhm,
but I
mhm.
forgot that in US we changed time. So
Oh, okay.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean? So now
Yes.
I
So you
need
were
a
you were on
call
time
back.
today then. You were very early today.
Yeah. So I thought, oh, at least this time I can be a little bit early. But when I came and now you're just wrapping it up, so what's going on? It's only,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah. So I get
It
that. So
switched
now I'm,
yesterday, right?
hmm.
It switched yesterday or
No,
no,
last
it switched
Sunday.
last week. Last week. Yeah, last week. Yeah.
Last Sunday, after our
Correct.
second meeting,
Meeting.
which
Yes.
was
Yes.
discourses. So
Yes.
now I
Yes.
totally
Indeed.
forgot that with India time, I should.
Sure. All right. Take care. Jai Baba.
Jai Baba.
Jai Baba,
Avatar
Jai
Meh
Baba.
Jai Baba,
Baba
Jai
Ki
Baba.
Jai.
Baba ki jai.
Bal Natu,
Jai.
Baba ki jai.
Avatar Meher Baba ki Jai. Bye.